Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Leader Spotlight. Today, we are going to introduce you to some of our Convergence leaders. We're going to talk with Joan Berner, Carol James, Deborah Jarchow, Geri Forkner, Marcia Weiss, and Margaret DiNegro. For those of you who are not familiar with Convergence, it's a 7-day fiber art conference with all kinds of wonderful fiber activities. It will be July 15th through the 21st in Knoxville, Tennessee. Some of the events that will be going on is our wonderful marketplace where you can test out that new loom you want to buy. We'll have exhibits, all types of exhibits. We have the keynote speaker, we have tours, as well as all of our sessions. And most importantly, I think, is the runway fashion show. We will have 120 plus sessions, everything from a 90-minute to a 3-day workshop. All this information is available on our website. And don't forget, with the CVP, the Convergence Value Package, you save 25% on your classes, but you must have a membership in order to take a class. We also have new hotels this time. So please go on our website and you can see all the hotels that are available. Today we have Joan Berner. Joan is going to talk about her class, Sewn Felted Vest. This is a 2-day workshop. It's Friday and Saturday, July the 15th through the 16th. Hi, Joan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for joining us today.
I am so excited to be talking about Convergence. It seems like it's been so long in it coming, and I'm sure for you. And actually, the fashion show is my favorite part too, but I am excited about all the classes, and I like seeing always what everybody wears because everybody's wearing something handmade. And so I always like that part too. So I'm going to be teaching a 2-day felting class, and I cannot believe how individually people make their felted garments after we start. I had a recent class, and despite all the same introductions and little examples and little felting, they're all different when they're done. So that always keeps me wanting to teach and to see what's going on. So just a quick little preview. In a class, we will go ahead and we will use a process to make flat pieces of felt. We'll cut out a pattern, and then there's just very basic sewing to complete the garment. So it's easily done that way. The inputs are simple. They're just wool, water, soap, and sometimes some decorative pieces that go on top, and different kinds of embellishment. The process is simple. It's layout, wetting out, rolling up, and then scrubbing it a bit. So it's direct, it takes energy, but you're always pleased. I'm always pleased with what my students come out with. They really do a great job. So I just want to give you a couple examples of different types of things that felting can do for you, and things you can make. I have my little mannequin here. So again, I'm dealing with a flat piece of felt, and I am going ahead and designing a garment out of it. I'm going to put a few pleats in the back to kind of mimic this, but it is just a flat piece of felt that we're going to be working with. And the different kinds of things that you can do to make your felt look different. Sometimes it's in the design of the garment. This garment has these little swoops here, especially if you're bigger tummy like I do, it brings the eye up. It's a nice garment design. And these are just pulling in little pin tucks. So it's a really simple vest to make, which is really kind of different looking. Sometimes I'm looking to put different colors together and different pieces. So in this example, I have like 2 different kinds of felt that I made, and I'm going to be putting them together to make a jacket. So this might be a front and this might be the side and the back, but you've got, again, endless choices between the colors and the type of material you use on top. This is a piece of material that I made, and I have started working with sari silks. and they're ancient. Most of them have tears in them because the saris are so old and they've been used so much. So in this process, I feel like I'm rescuing saris. I'm not destroying them because they can't be worn because of the shape that they're in. And so this was just a piece from a sari, and I could easily see what a great piece it would make on the front of a jacket. And then maybe I'm going to put teal on the other side. But this was just a process, again, of what I said, a pre-felted wool and then a design on top. And this is actually a piece cut from the sari. So I think it's an exciting new area that I have been playing with. Here's another piece that you can't quite see what the sari design looked like, but it's a way to get patterning into felt, which normally you can't get this kind of detail in felt. So I've been pretty excited about using them and how I might be able to use them with something else. And in this, you know, I might take another piece of felt with it to make part of the body. You know, I might divide this part in half. So I've got two pieces of silk over here or silk covered wool over here. But being flat, I can cut them out just like a pattern. They go together really quickly because in a vest, all you're really sewing are your shoulder seams and your underarm seams. And we'll be doing some easy neck treatments on it.
I just can't believe you're going to get all of that done in a 2-day workshop. That's amazing.
You know, it is a push, but to make the flat pieces of felt, I don't have to fit anything beforehand. I'll have little muslins that people can actually put on to get an idea of what their vest pattern should be like. And then it's just the sewing. The sewing is simple. So we will have to concentrate on what we're doing.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on today. I think people would be so excited. I know I would love to walk away with a vest. That would be amazing. So thank you so much for sharing with us today, Joan. We appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me talk.
All right.
I'll see you soon.
All right.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Carol James is up next. She's our Sprang queen, Sprang twining. It's a 1-day workshop. It's Sunday, July the 17th. Hi, Carol.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
So I'm going to be talking about this Sprang workshop. That's what you want to hear about. I'm trying to find to get to my PowerPoint presentation here. There we are. We're going to talk about Sprang twining. And actually, I'm thinking that maybe the title should have been Twining on a Background of Interlinking is what this is. It's instructions on how to get all kinds of color into your Sprang pieces. Now, this class isn't for everyone. It's intended for individuals familiar with the basics of Sprang. If you can manage a small piece of Sprang using the interlinking stitch, looks like this chain link fence structure. If you can manage that, then you can take the class. But the class doesn't take the basics of Sprang. It talks about using color. If you can manage to put a bit of color into your basic interlinking Sprang, here I've got a warp that's set up with different colors, and it ended up in this hat. That's what we're talking about, starting with these basic colors. And then what we're going to do, if you can make the stripes, you know how to make the stripes on your piece, then what we're going to do is we're going to make those colors move around. That's what we're going to talk about in this class, how to get the colored threads to move sideways. So I'm going to show you how to set up, how to get these colored threads to move to the left. That's the first part of the instruction. And then I'll show you how we can get the 2 pairs of threads to move back to the right. Now, actually,
hey, Carol, are you doing a PowerPoint?
Yeah.
We're not seeing it.
Oh dear. I'm so sorry. Hang on a second. I need to share screen.
Share screen.
Oh dear.
Down at the bottom.
Here I am. I'll flapping away. And I'm not, thank you for interrupting me there.
Sure.
Okay. Are you seeing my PowerPoint here?
Yes, we are. There you go.
Start. There. Do you see the start of it?
Yes, we do.
So sorry. Okay, we're going to talk. Sorry, I'm so excited here. I want to share with you how we can do this, how we can get vertical stripes to get into these fancy kind of diagonal lines. I'll show you how to move the diagonal line to the left and then how to move it to the right. And here we've got a dark green and a pale green. I'll show you how to separate those out. So the one goes this way, the other goes that way, and then comes back together, which means you're making a diamond sort of shape. That's what we're going to talk about in this class. So next slide. Here we go. I've got this thread set up, multicolored threads. Could be this kind of a hat, but we're going to make the lines wiggle this way and that way, so I can show you how to make these kind of motifs with your color. Okay, the way this happens, the structure is we've got this background of interlinking stitches, and we've got a pair of threads that takes off having exclusive partnership, twining. That's what the twining looks like in the schematic. And I'm going to show you how to hold the threads, how to manipulate the threads so that it does that. I have a number of instruction sheets, but I'll take you through the instruction sheets, show you what the instructions mean, how my charting method works, and how to manipulate the threads. Why would you want to do this? Well, trying to learn more about Sprang, I visited a number of pieces in museums. For example, this bonnet in the German Textile Museum. Now, when I first looked at that, I thought, gee, that looks like a Scottish Argyle motif. But if you look at it closer, you'll see we have vertical lines of red and dark blue and green, and these vertical lines, dark blue, green, yellow, red, and then the yellow and the white threads take off moving diagonally across. That's how that works. And I'll show you how this works. Take those threads diagonally to the right, how to take them diagonally to the left across the surface of the cloth. That's what makes these motifs. Here's another adaptation, use of that technique. Here's a cowl. This is a circular warp using a multicolored purple and blue skein of yarn. And then I added some orange threads on the outside, and I added some orange threads, and I had those orange threads do this moving out and back to make this motif. That's what you can use it for. You could also use it, for example, for a pair of mittens. Here I've got some sock yarn, blue and green sock yarn, and then we've got some white threads, and those white threads zigzag back and forth. That's what I'm going to tell you how to do in this class. Now, one more thing. Here we have the threads moving to the left, moving to the right, separate, and then they disappear. How does that happen? Well, there's this little instruction. We've got two diamonds that appear and then they disappear, appear and disappear. And if we could see the reverse side, you can see they go to the back side of the cloth. I will show you how to do that. How to manipulate the threads. We'll read through the instructions so you know what the instructions mean, what those words on the instruction, as well as what the charts mean. Here, for example, is a piece from the Kelsey Museum. This is a piece from the Kelsey Museum, and this is my replica that I tried imitating the design. You can see these yellow lines that zigzag back and forth. You can see this yellow line zigzagging back and forth, and we can see these little diamonds. The threads there then go behind, and they come out here. Here's another little diamond, and then it goes behind. I'll show you how to do this. Another adaptation of the technique is a child's baby bonnet. And this baby bonnet is made with a very washable craft cotton. We have these blue and white zigzags, blue zigzags on a white background, white zigzags on a blue background. Another use of the technique that I'll show you in class. And one more example from that museum in Germany. We've got these diagonal lines. Here we have two colors of yarn. In the twining, we've got green and blue, or green and yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow, making this twined line, and green and yellow going this way. Now you know how that works. And it's on this dark blue background. But then we have these white threads that appear, white and red, and then they disappear. And then they reappear again. That's the kind of thing, the kind of magic we're going to be talking about. I've seen a number of these designs. I've written out charts for these different designs. It's a real simple technique, but you know, there's so much you can do with it. That's what we're going to talk about in this class. Sprang twining. Actually, it's a twining technique on a background of interlinking. Okay.
Carol, you're amazing. Good job.
Oh, sorry about that in the beginning.
I'm sorry I didn't catch it sooner.
I have to click on the share screen, right?
Yeah.
Just thinking about it doesn't suffice, does it?
So folks, if you are starting in twining and you want to go to that next step, here's a class for you. So thank you so much, Carol.
Bye-bye. So
next up, we have Deborah Jarchow, who's going to talk about double heddles on the rigid heddle loom. This is a 2-day workshop. It's on Sunday and Monday, July 17th through the 18th. Hey, Deborah.
Hi, Kathy. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for being here.
Always a pleasure. So I'm going to be teaching using double heddles on the rigid heddle loom, which I'm very excited about. It's not for beginners like Carol's class. You need to have a little bit of rigid heddle experience under your belt. But we spend the first morning threading the loom. Threading the double heddles can be a little bit of a challenge, but once you get the rhythm of it down, you can breeze right through it. So one of the things that I really like to do on the rigid heddle loom is just making these wonderful patterns that these are using 2 heddles, no pickup sticks, just lifting and lowering your heddles in different ways. And you can see you can get all of these really fun designs and certainly more, but these are the ones that we do in class so that you can really have fun playing and making these different things. And it's always fun to walk around in class and see somebody else use different colors so you can see how it looks in their colors. And with each pattern that we do, we use one color first for a little bit, then we use a second color as weft for a little bit, and then we alternate color A and color B for a little bit. So you can see just by changing up your colors, you can make really different cool things in your patterns. And I just love the way you can get the diagonal lines over here. You can get the things that look like little curves going on. There's so many things that you can do. And this is just manipulating the 2 heddles in different ways. And then after, on the second day, we dig in with starting with using not only the double heddles, but using pickup sticks as well. And these are some more of the different colors and patterns we can get by using just the 2 heddles. I jumped ahead of myself a little bit there. But different patterns, you can see how pretty they can be. The one on the left, I use 2 colors in the warp and a different 2 colors in the weft. So you can see it's really kind of striking patterns that you can do with just using the 2 heddles. But then starting on the second day, we start weaving 2 layers. One of the things that I love about the 2 layers is that you can, even though we've got 2 colors in the warp and we're using 2 colors in the weft, you can see that we can get a solid blue on one layer and it's a solid white on the other layer. So if you turned this piece over, the part that's blue right here will be white on the other side. And the part that's white here will be blue on the other side. So it's a really cool way to intermix your colors and get different things to show up, which is kind of magical. And some of these I've woven as pockets so that the side is attached here, and others are completely open so that you can, they just make a horizontal pocket, which is a lot of fun. Think about things you could make, like make a long strip of fabric that's a shuttle holder that you could drape over your dresser or over any piece of furniture in your loom room, and you could stuff all of your shuttles in there in your double heddle pockets. So that's kind of fun. And then here is an image of a needle case that I made. You will not be making this in class, but you can make this certainly after class. It's using the technique you learn on this particular piece. It's regular plain weave in some areas. And then I've done using double layer fabric for part of the piece, single layer plain weave for the other part of the piece. And so you have pockets on part of it. So you can see that the pockets are separated by plain weave areas, but then you have these areas of pockets. The needle case is just one example I'll have of what you can do after class to show this, but it's really kind of fun to be able to weave pockets and things. And then the last example I'm going to show you is making double width the cloth. I'm a big proponent of using narrow looms to weave on because they're so easy to manipulate, but a lot of people want to make wider cloth on their looms. So you can see I've got the piece of fabric here that's laid out, that's the width of the warp, but then after you weave this and you take it off the loom, you can open it up and it's twice the width of the cloth that you wove on your loom. So really amazing things that you can do on your rigid heddle loom. And I've had people say before when they come in, I heard a woman over saying once, you know, this class is billed as double weave on the rigid Heddle loom, but you can't really do double weave on a rigid Heddle loom. You know, you can only do that on a multi-harness loom, but here's the proof. Yes, you can weave 2 layers. You can weave double the width. So it's really exciting. Those are all the slides I have. We also weave a tube in class. So both sides are connected. So you could make things like a double, you know, a wine carrier or some sort of tube that you want to make into other things. So I'll
Well,
stop.
Deborah,
Yes.
you never cease to amaze me what you can come up with on a rigid Heddle, because they always say, well, you can't make that much. It's like, you need to take Deborah's class. You will take it to a new level. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Kathy. My pleasure.
We will see you in Knoxville.
We will. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Next up, we have, excuse me, Geri Forkner. Geri is doing What's New with Nuno. It's a 3-day workshop. It's Tuesday through Thursday. Hello, Geri.
Hello. Well, first I need to thank all of you at HGA for the amazing job you're doing and the number of balls you must be juggling to pull this thing off. And I did want to say that Kathy said there were new hotels. There is a little bit about the Knoxville hotels that have been added on the Facebook page for Convergence participants. So if you're nervous about going to a new place, you can check that out. Knoxville's a fun place on the weekends. So I'm doing a 3-day Nuno felting class. Nuno felting is a wet felting process that adds a layer of cloth to the felt. In the whole process of making it, it's not stitched on separately at all. So we're gonna, and you can see from the things that are here, the versatility of what you can do. You can make great big pieces or little small pieces. You can go from just simple little pods like this that will be doing that 3-dimensional thing to large flat pieces like you would be using for a garment in Joan's class. So I'm going to show you a sample of the different types of layouts that we're going to be doing. So this is a piece of cloth. It's a silk cloth that's already been dyed. And each of these samples that I'm going to show you are different ways of laying out the fibers using the exact same piece of cloth. And so the size changes as it shrinks. You can use different colors, and the colors will affect and shade it. It's almost like putting a layer of paint on the top of it to give it a different color. And then there's a completely different type of layout that is also a lot of fun to do. So we will be doing some scarf size samples of each one of these different techniques. And the supplies are very simple. You need a pool noodle and some bubble wrap. If you're flying in from out of town, I'll bring extras. You don't need to worry about stuffing your suitcase with pool noodles and bubble wrap. And then we're going to use this merino wool. You can see it comes in multiple different colors. It's very easy to work with. Merino has the finest fiber diameter of any of the sheep breeds. So it's easy for it to go through and penetrate the different layers of cloth. Let's see, that's about the fast version of Nuno felting. And, you know, we'll try different things and see how far we get. You can do a lot in 3 days. You probably won't be able to end up doing an individual project, taking some of the things that we've learned and doing a larger piece towards the end of the 3 days. So that's
what you're
about
wearing. Is what you're wearing, Nuno?
This is, yes, and this is a real lightweight piece because Convergence is in July and you don't want to think about wearing wool in the summertime. So this is just on a very lightweight piece of this. It's actually on this same silk chiffon, and because the silk is holding the pieces of wool together, then you don't have to cover the whole entire surface with the wool. And then this is a heavier weight for winter. This a whole collage piece of fiber. And then you've got different ways of laying it out, and you can put a whole different design on the inside. And the belt is, this is really fun to do because it's reversible. You have something, you can put something completely different on the other side, like you can see in this piece. I'm not good at being a weatherman with the, they do that with the blank screen. This has a completely different opposite side. So for garments, that's really good because it gives you, your collar folds back and then you can see something different on the other side.
Well, I think everybody loves walking away with something in their hand when they get done with the workshop. So this will be wonderful.
Well, that's true. And they will go home with plenty of things and lots of different bright colors. People are really amazed by what they can accomplish in this amount of time.
Well, thank you so much, Geri. We appreciate you sharing about this class. And again, it's Nuno Felting. It's a 3-day workshop, Tuesday through Thursday. Next up, we have Marcia Weiss. Marcia is doing Double Weave Works. It's a 2-day workshop, Tuesday through Wednesday, July 19th through the 20th. Hi, Marcia.
Hey, Kathy. Thank you so much. And thank you to HGA. I'm excited about all of the presentations we've already seen and wish I could be taking more classes than I will be. But to everybody, if you haven't been to Convergence, come. It's such an amazing opportunity to meet other like-minded individuals. We always have a brilliant time and you learn so much. So let me share my screen. And bear with me one moment while I get the view. Let's see, here we go. And with any luck, the technology will work. Okay, well, we're gonna use it like this. So, did the slide advance?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's start with some details. So this is a double weave workshop. What I love about double weave is you can bring things to the front of the cloth when you want to see them and push them to the back when you don't. So this is on, the workshop is on a loom of 4 or more shafts, could be a floor loom or a table loom. We'll be using block draws with 12 inches minimum width in the reed, reeds from 12 to 16. It's great to have some experience. You need to know how to warp a loom and how to read a draft. And instructions will be sent in advance to the participants in terms of the warp and block draw options so that we can hit the ground running when we get to Knoxville. Some of the things that we're going to do, and we saw some of this with the double Heddles on the rigid Heddle loom, so I'm excited that we're going to do some similar things and some different things. We're going to be doing some vertical tubes, and in this example, you can see that my 2 layers of cloth are different weights. Linen is my absolute favorite fiber, and I work in linen most of the time. So this is 2 layers. One is a fairly lightweight linen, and the other is more coarse. So I'm playing with opacity and density. We'll develop horizontal tubes, and nothing has to be solid. Things can be striated. You can play with color. Color can ombre through something. You can play with yarn and texture and fiber changes, all of which can make for really exciting end uses and opportunities. You can certainly make double width fabric. We heard a little bit about that earlier today. You can make something that's twice as wide. We could actually look at things that are 3 times as wide or 4 times as wide, depending on the number of harnesses that you have. You could also make 2 completely separate layers of fabric, and there's reasons why, depending on end use possibilities, you might want to do that. You could make a tube. Here again, it's a matter of, are the face and the back of the cloth the exact same, or are they different? And how do you want to play with those opportunities? In this example, again, I've got a fairly lightweight half bleached linen warp and then an indigo dyed heavier linen warp for the other. And I'm using them in 2 separate panels so that you can see how the color shifts from face to back. We certainly can do checkerboards, easy. Block draws really lend themselves to creating checkerboard type designs. This shows you a few different examples. The one on the left is solid warp, solid fill, two different warp colors, two different weft colors, one for each layer. The sample in the middle and on the right both involve some ikat. Ikat is my happy place, and double cloth ikat is my really happy place. In this particular workshop, we're focusing on double cloth or double weave, and we won't be going down the ikat road, but it's something that I'm more than happy to share my love of with you. With pockets, pockets can be stuffed. They could be stuffed with fiber, as the image on the left. In the middle, I've stuffed it, some of the pockets with buttons. I don't know, do all of you have button boxes? I have one that was my grandmother's and then my mother's and now is mine. So it's got all of these random buttons from clothes, because certainly when the clothes wore out, you never threw out the buttons, you kept them because you might need them sometime. So, so this is actually 2 double cloth pieces with buttons in the different layers. And again, it's linen. And the piece on the right has very small pockets, and there's really different dimensional yarns used on both layers. So things we can play with. And last, but certainly not least in terms of techniques we'll explore, are pleats. I love pleats. I love dimension in the fabric. And what I can tell you is, when I've taught this workshop in the past, pleats are easiest with 2 beams, but you don't need 2 beams. We're also going to look at loom hacks to create a second beam and other ways to manage pleats if you're working with 1 beam. In previous workshops, we've had such great fun and some pretty hysterical laughter with creating pleats. So I'll tell those stories in person rather than having them recorded here. But what I'm going to encourage you to do is come to Convergence, take a class that you know something about, take a class that you know nothing about. It is the absolute best experience. So I hope you can join us.
Thank you, Marcia. I have to say that whenever I hear somebody talk about your double weave class, they always say the same thing of, I just didn't get it until I took Marcia's class, and then they got it. So I encourage you all, if you've ever been intimidated by double weave, go take Marcia's class. Thank you again, Marcia. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Kathy.
Last but not least, we have Margaret DiNegro. Margaret's doing bobbin lace. It's called Let's Learn Lace, making bobbin lace bookmarks. And this is an image of what you're going to make. It's a 1-day workshop. It's Friday, July the 15th. Hello, Margaret.
Hello,
How are you?
I am good.
Good.
So I'm going to be teaching bobbin lace. It is a beginning class for someone who does not know how to do it, but is able to do things and learn manipulations. If you can read a knitting pattern, for instance, if you can thread a loom in something a little more than plain weave, this will be a cinch. Bobbin lace is, I think, my greatest love. I do an awful lot of different stuff. I weave and spin and dye and do woodworking and bead making, etc. But I keep coming back to bobbin lace. I keep making it over and over again. I love doing it. I love teaching people how to do it. The thing I think is impressive about bobbin lace is it looks incredibly complicated. The first pillow I ever saw was in Belgium, and there must have been 100 bobbins on that pillow, if not more. It looks like it takes a genius to do it. It doesn't. At any given time, no matter how many bobbins are on your pillow, you're only dealing with 4. And there are only 2 movements within those bobbins. You do your movements, maybe you stick a pin in and you do them again, and then you move and you push 2 bobbins aside and you take 2 more bobbins, and guess what? You're still working with 4. And you just keep doing that until eventually you get a lot of lace. We're going to be teaching torchon, which is a beginning lace. It's a little like when you learn to read, you use the Tom and Jerry books. When you learn lace, you learn torchon. It is a beginning level. It gives you the basic movements, how to do stuff. And then if you really like it and want to get involved with more complicated laces, you know what you need to know to go on doing it. So torchon lace is a utilitarian lace. It's used for lots of stuff around the home, for instance. It might be trim on pillowcases, the edges of curtains. It might make Christmas ornaments. Depending on what you're doing, it makes a difference in the pillow you use. You do need a pillow, just like you need a loom for weaving. This is a roller pillow. You can see all the bobbins I've used. I've just finished about 5 yards of this lace. And if you can see it, I put it on a garment that I wore to a wedding and just trimmed the garment with that. Easy. Took a while to make the lace, but doesn't everything that's handcrafted. With a roller pillow, you have a pricking that you'll be needing, and you keep putting pins in, you keep rolling the pillow, the lace goes off the back edge, and you can keep going and do however many yards you need. Some examples of lace that I've done over here. This one is going to be the yoke in a rather extravagant nightgown. I'm going to do some more of it, a little narrower to edge the sleeves. This one was a hanky I edged a long time ago, and then I made a beaded purse to go with it. Both of these were done on a flat cookie pillow because the whole design needed to be on the surface. So when you come to this class, I can't really give you a list of things that you need to bring because too much of it is a bit specialized. So you're going to get a fabulous kit. I don't have all of the pieces parts where I could lay my hands on them quickly. The main thing you need is a pillow, and this will be a cookie pillow. This is the only thing in the kit that won't last you into the next generation. It's made of styrofoam and it will eventually break down, but it'll last you for quite a while before you need to deal with replacing it. You'll get a cookie pillow. You'll get a pattern. You're going to be doing a small bookmark. Actually, you're going to be starting a small bookmark. And I've purposely designed it to teach you all of the different stitches. There are only 3 different stitches, all 3 different stitches in the one-day workshop. We could have used more days, but we didn't get them. Anyway, you will get far enough that you will have learned all the stitches and how to continue. And you'll be able to take it home and finish it if you find you like this. You'll get a large color-coded pattern of your bookmark, which makes it really simple to follow. You'll get enough bobbins to do your piece. You'll get linen thread to work with. You'll get an assortment of pins that will be needed. You'll get a pin cushion. You'll get a cover cloth. You'll get a whole bunch of things. The only thing you might consider bringing with you would be a pencil and paper and a small pair of scissors that you might need. I don't know. I will furnish everything else that you need.
Margaret, that's amazing. It's so nice to be able to start, for people who don't do this, that they can start a new craft and they're prepared just to show up and you've taken good care of them. Thank you so much. This is fascinating. And I encourage you all to, if you have more questions about Margaret's class or anyone's class, please go to the website and you can learn all about the different sessions that'll be going on during Convergence. Thank you again, Margaret. That was wonderful. So don't forget, if you want to register for classes, you go to weavespindye.org. All the information about the classes are there. You can also see the materials list that you'll be required to bring. Some classes it's a lot, some of it's very little. It will be up to you which class you want. As I'd said earlier, I kind of jumped the gun. There are more hotels now. You can check the Marriott, they're pretty full. There's the Crown Plaza in Knoxville, the Hyatt, and the Cumberland House. Check those out. They have rooms available for the whole time of Convergence. And please join us at Convergence. It will be an amazing week, as Marcia was saying. there's so many things going on. There's something for everyone. And even if you don't take a class and you just want to buy a day pass, there are the exhibits, there's the shopping. You can stay busy all day long with a day pass, which you can buy at Convergence. So thank you all so much. And we appreciate you joining us this afternoon.